Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Welcome, everybody. Heat, Wolf Glen, how's it going? Welcome, everybody. I'll make sure I got everything going. Today we are going to do a short, sweet, to the point stream. Try to end it on time. Got a few things to do. 420. It's 420 somewhere, right? I've got my vanilla cola. So, we're ready to go. Don't forget, folks, join the Discord. Before we get started, the usual announcements. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. For those on the YouTube, keep liking the stream. I appreciate it. Subscribe. And join the Discord. If you want to keep supporting the channel, there are different ways. Consider checking out the merch store with exclamation mark merch. All right, folks, let's get started. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. I think we should probably start with this one. Trump official brags about giving homeless people fake money to get them arrested. I mean, that's like the most that is the most, how do I say this? The most truthful, obvious, not surprising, whatever terminology you want to use, headline ever. Thank you, Heat. Not only for being a viewer, but also for helping keeping the chat chill. Callous mofo, yeah. It completely tracks, though. It's a Trump official, so like it 100% tracks. It makes so much sense that such a scumbag like this would do something like that. Does that make sense? I know all the best people. Very true. On brand. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. On brand.
So I always keep this fake Hollywood money in my car. So when a homeless person asks for money, then I give them like a fake $5 bill. So I feel good about myself. They feel good. And then when they go to use it...
Wait, Wolfglen, welcome. Welcome. Were they distributing counterfeit money? I thought that was a crime. I think it is. I think it is.
They get arrested. So I'm actually like helping clean up the community, you know, getting them off the street.
That loathsome and downright infuriating TikTok that you just watched was posted by John McEntee. John McEntee is a former aide to Donald Trump who was actually fired back in 2018 by John Kelly for failing a security clearance check. But the Trump administration actually rehired him back in 2020 after Trump dumped John Kelly. And now John McEntee is currently working on Trump's 2024 campaign, and he's also a senior advisor to the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025.
Cool. All the good stuff, right? This guy, a rather serious federal crime, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I would say, I would say, distributing counterfeit money is a huge no-no. Yeah, this guy makes poor people's lives harder on purpose. Yep, in more ways than one. In more ways than one. Like, not only is this dude like literally distributing counterfeit money with the specific purpose so that homeless people can get arrested, but like he works for the Trump campaign. He's, a pretty higher up on the Heritage Foundation. Like, yeah, dude's entire mission in life revolves around making poor people's lives harder. So, yeah. Give me 1 second, folks. I gotta get a phone call. 1 second. Sorry about that, folks. All right, let's do it. Michael Hasser, welcome. Sorry about that. Michael Hasser, welcome, welcome, welcome.
which is a
Let me just rewind for a little bit.
fired back in 2018 by John Kelly for failing a security clearance check. But the Trump administration actually rehired him back in 2020 after Trump dumped John Kelly. And now John McEntee is currently working on Trump's 2024 campaign, and he's also a senior advisor to the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, which is a fascistic plan to basically destroy the administrative state and turn the United States into a Christian nationalist theocracy. Oh, and he also co-founded the right-wing dating app, The Right Stuff, back in 2022. Remember that cringeworthy ad that we all saw? That was that guy. Now, in the event Trump is reelected, he's almost certainly going to be a part of Trump's administration, and he recently laid out some of his plans for a second Trump term. And as you might have guessed, it's very unserious.
Very within your control. And you bring up the elephant in the room, which is a stain on not only society, but the entire dating culture, which is pornography.
Yeah.
And I think whenever America bans that, which will be happening at some point, everyone will be much better off. I know, people are like, what, you've never seen that? Heroin addicts know heroin's bad, So like people, just because they've used it at some point, it's still addressing that fact. I think, guys have this way distorted view of the world and how that should work. And the minute that goes away, this country will flourish. I actually do believe that.
Oh, no. So many horrible people are coming to power soon, not that there aren't already there. Yeah, but we're talking, whew. Oh, man.
Nip that one in the bud.
Yes, because we all know that porn is what's causing all of society's problems. Get rid of porn and everything is going to be peachy keen, according to this dipshit. Very, very serious person. But long story short, John McEntee is a pretty busy guy, but he still manages to find
Yep, banning alcohol works so well. Yeah, it worked so well that they had to reverse it. That's how well it worked.
time to get innocent homeless people arrested by giving them fake money. But to an imbecile like him, I'm sure that he thinks this is all funny and it's just a prank, bro. But it's actually not just a prank. In fact, it's really serious because this is something that can get people killed. Remember, George Floyd was murdered by a police officer for allegedly trying to spend a counterfeit $20 bill. And for
right, and to this day, I still don't even know if that was ever even proven. Not that it matters in the grand scheme of things, but
furthermore, he's confessing to a crime on this TikTok because, as HuffPost explains, people could face up to 20 years in prison and be fined for knowingly and with the intent to defraud, possess, or distribute any false, forged, or counterfeit bill, according to 18 U.S. Code 480. Now, I'm assuming that he knows this, which is...
yeah, like, hey, here's a question. Where are the consequences for this guy? Huh? Where are the consequences for this guy?
Is why he put a disclaimer in his video description on TikTok saying that it's just a joke and telling everyone to calm down. Now, whether or not it's actually a joke, I have no idea. But if one of his deranged right-wing followers ends up doing this and gets an innocent, unhoused person arrested or killed, it's a win-win for him because across the dozens, if not hundreds of TikToks that he's uploaded to the page for the right-wing dating app that he owns, he's made it pretty clear that he absolutely despises unhoused people and he just doesn't view them as human beings. For example, here's just some of his thoughts about the unhoused.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I have a dream that one day
Makes sense.
Americans will be able to walk down the street of any city in the country and not be harassed by a homeless man. Los Angeles is run exclusively by Democrats, and they're the ones that say they're going to clean up the environment.
Notice how he's talking about cleaning up the environment while referencing unhoused people, as if they're just trash that needs to be swept away.
We're here in court with President Trump standing with him, but we need you to stand with him too. Go to DonaldJTrump.com.
Nah, I think I'm good.
But we're not talking about
Not I have a dream that everyone will be housed. Nah, Nah.
trash. We're talking about actual human beings here. But to him, he doesn't view them as anything but trash. He thinks that they're subhuman. He thinks that he's better than them. But I'm so sick and tired of hearing
Right, and like it's not like he actually wants an actual solution to solving homelessness. This guy will never, ever, ever be in favor for plans to make sure that people have the resources that they need to get off the streets. This dude will never advocate for a plan to make sure everybody in this country has a roof over their head. Did you move the subs to Mike's chin for a reason? I tried to get it on his shirt because his shirt is black, but it keeps
conservatives
moving.
complain about
I tried moving it to his shirt, but it keeps moving it. Come on. Yeah. Because his shirt is perfect. It's black, so it makes the it moves up on the play in progress bar there. Boo. Because his shirt is perfect, but I guess it's just gonna
house people while not offering any solutions to end homelessness, while not supporting any of our solutions to end homelessness. Remember, this is a former White House official. So rather than complaining about unhoused people, why not propose some solutions? Why not give houses to the unhoused? Because it's actually cheaper than criminalizing and policing them and jailing them. Well, he doesn't want to do that because I'm sure he'd say it's socialism and, you know, he doesn't want to pay for that. Okay, well, if they're harassing people on the streets, whatever he means by that, maybe they're experiencing a mental health crisis. Perhaps if we're not going to house them, we can at least offer them free mental health care. No, I don't want to do that either because that's also socialism and I don't want to pay for that. Okay, well, listen, if we don't want to do anything about the people currently on the streets, why not strengthen our social safety net so that way less people fall into that predicament and become unhoused?
Nope.
Well, no, because that's welfare and, you know, they just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. It's ridiculous. They want to complain about unhoused people while supporting zero solutions that would actually end this crisis. Meanwhile, this dipshit is prioritizing a ban on porn if Trump gets back in office because according to him, that's what's really going to cause society to flourish. They're just so fundamentally unserious that I can't fucking take it. Right? But it gets worse because I'm sure that you'll all be surprised to learn that he also hates more people that are less fortunate than him or people who are marginalized. It's not just unhoused people or people who are poor. He also hates LGBTQ plus people and trans people in particular. And he broadcasts all of his odious views to the millions of people who watch him on TikTok in the most insufferable way imaginable. So here's just a small taste.
I just want to thank my parents for not letting me pick my gender while I was trying to eat crayons and glue my hands together. Solar eclipses are amazing. You know what's even more amazing? A virus so smart that it attacks every 4 years during a presidential election.
This is so profoundly stupid that, like, I don't even know where to begin with this one. Please, please, please put something in his food. They'll drop the porn thing soon enough. It's not a winning strategy. I'd say something, but the mods would have to delete it. Fair enough.
Just so you know, calling someone privileged because they're white is judging someone by the color of their skin. So people...
Yeah, this guy's so smart. What a freaking intel. You know what? Yeah, that's what's happening here. We're dealing with an intellectual titan, a true philosopher, if you will. Welcome, Echo Resto Dragon.
People that say "Make America Great Again" are a threat to democracy, but people who shout "Death to America" aren't.
He is the smuggest motherfucker on the
Yeah, seriously. Oh my god, it's so insufferable.
planet, and I swear to God, like 90% of his TikToks are of him saying some dumb, smarmy shit for like 5 seconds and then taking a bite of ice cream or whatever he's eating and then smiling like he just dropped some bars. It is the most insufferable thing I think I've ever seen.
Seriously. It is. Calling water wet is discriminating on hair.
But
How do I know you're privileged? The things you say and the fact that you get to go out to eat all the time. Yeah, and he does like he specifically like chooses places like freaking Chick-fil-A on purpose.
I do
I'm
want to
sure.
give him a little bit of help with that last point that he made because, you know, the people who are shouting death to America, he might disagree with them, but they're not cooking up plans to overturn American democracy and subject everyone else to authoritarian rule by a dictator. Whereas people like him, who are shouting "Make America Great Again," they actually have a very specific plan called Project 2025 to turn America into a Christian nationalist theocracy. And this new plan was concocted after his first plan failed. And I say this because John McEntee is the guy credited as making January 6th possible in the first place, as explained by this 2021 piece in The Atlantic by Jonathan D. Carl. And Carl goes on to explain, quote, "McEntee and his enforcers made the disastrous last weeks of the Trump presidency possible. They backed the president's manic drive to overturn the election and helped set the stage for the January 6th assault on the Capitol. Thanks to them, in the end, the elusive adults in the room, those who might have been willing to confront the president or try to control his most destructive tendencies, were silenced or gone. But McEntee was there, bossing around cabinet secretaries, decapitating the civilian leadership at the Pentagon, and forcing officials high and low to state their allegiance to Trump. When Trump wasn't happy with the answers he was getting from White House counsel Pat Cipollone, McEntee set up a rogue legal team. This back-channel operation played a previously unknown role in the effort to pressure Vice President Mike Pence to overturn the vote. Just days before January 6th, McEntee sent Pence's office an absurd memo making the case that Pence would be following Thomas Jefferson's example if he used his power to declare Trump the winner of the 2020 election. More than anyone else in the White House, McEntee was Trump's man through and through, a man who rose to power at precisely the moment when American democracy was falling apart. Now, that's just a small sample from a really long and comprehensive article, but basically McEntee was reinforcing all of Trump's bad ideas and terrible instincts, and he was also trying to rally other Trump administration officials into supporting Trump's coup attempt. And before that, McEntee was snitching on basically everyone in Trump's administration who he thought was insufficiently loyal to Daddy Trump. And because Trump loves ass kissers, he knew this and did exactly what he needed to do to gain influence and clout within the administration. You know, you kiss the ring, you brown nose a little bit, and Trump is all of a sudden listening to a lot of what you have to say. That's what he did. And now he would almost certainly be in Trump's administration if Trump were to get a second term. And I think that, you know, his previous actions in Trump's administration and his involvement in 2025, that was already a big enough red flag. But looking at his TikTok page gives us even more insight into this twisted, inhumane person and the way that he thinks. And if his TikToks hadn't gone viral largely due to how deranged they are, not a lot of people would even know about this asshole. So in a way, he's kind of doing us all a favor by broadcasting his depravity for the world to see. And what I always say is when people tell you who they are, we should listen, especially when they're that close to power.
100%. Yeah, a hype man, so to speak. This is a professional NFL kicker, Harrison Burker. saying some very cool and very nice things about how women, the best thing that they could look forward to in life, is just to be an incubator and a sandwich maker. Let's take a look. Uh-oh.
For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak to
Like, can you imagine like having this like thought process and then like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna actually say this speech at a graduation ceremony. Okay.
directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated.
Bro, you're an NFL kicker.
That all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife.
Would convert to the
Embrace.
faith and become... Jesus Christ. I love being a mom, but what the F is this some BS? Right, like there's a difference between like, you know, just obviously, you know, you love being a mom, but like this dude's only sole expectations. There you go. Expectations of a woman is just to be that. Like that is the expectation that this dude has, and how he views women is whew. And saying that in a college graduation, a university graduation ceremony is just the icing on the shit cake, huh? Yeah, welcome to 1959. So if she doesn't do that and doesn't want to, she's like, right, exactly, because obviously a woman's true nature is just to be a submissive housewife, homemaker. That's it. That's all that this dude, that's this dude's worldview, and has the gall, the audacity to go and say that at a freaking graduation ceremony.
One of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Drinking that Daily Wire Kool-Aid, that's freaking wild. Wild that this dude would go up there and unironically, seriously say that, and specifically say like, look, ladies in the audience, okay? Look, I know you've worked hard, and I know you have accomplished a lot, doing all of this studying and effort to pass all your classes and get all your credits to get this degree, but actually, bro, oh man, if I were graduating, I'd be pissed. I mean, I am now. Yeah, like I'd throw my freaking diploma at him, or my hat. Just throw my hat at him. He's looking to become a lobbyist or congressperson. Welcome, Cognizant. You could go with the old shoe method.
وجنود الولايات المتحدة والمدنيين فإننا نقترب كثيرا من هذه النهاية.
شكرا جزيلا. شكرا جزيلا.
Yeah. There you go.
Do we have a government that's really by and for the people?
No.
The numbers tell us a different story. This is the share of Americans who are regular working class people, and this is the share of members of Congress who come from the working class. You see that difference? But what would a government by and for the people truly look like? It might look like this guy.
How is a mechanic from Omaha gonna beat a 12-year Republican incumbent in the red state of Nebraska? That's a great question. If anybody else can answer that, no, I'm just kidding.
Dan Osborne is an industrial mechanic. He served in the military, and he led 500 coworkers on strike at Kellogg's. Workers like Dan don't fit the image of a typical U.S. senator, but maybe they should.
So it's 6:30 now. Is this a normal wake-up time? What kind of hours are you putting in?
Yeah, on a normal week, I'll get to work at 7. I'll stay as late as they need me to. Less than a month ago, I worked Saturday to Saturday, and I worked 90 hours that week.
Is anyone else in the Senate putting in those kind of hours?
90 hours? I wish they would. Maybe we'd actually get something done for a change.
Dan's routine while running for office is getting in late from a campaign event and waking up early for his full-time job as a steam fitter.
It's wreaked havoc on my body over the years. I'm 48 years old, lifting 4-inch black iron pipe, welding and grinding, and it's certainly taken its toll.
The vast majority of U.S. lawmakers are career politicians, and a lot got their start as lawyers or businessmen. But Dan's introduction to politics was pretty different.
Tonight, a labor strike by more than 1,000 Kellogg's cereal plant workers.
Around the clock, 2-month labor stare down at Kellogg's.
In 2021, 1,400 Kellogg's workers went on strike to prevent the company from gutting their wages and benefits.
Is this hardball?
This is absolutely hardball.
Dan led the strike at his plant in Omaha, where he had worked for almost 20 years.
We were on strike for 77 days, not knowing if we were ever going to be able to work there again.
We'll stay out here one day longer than they're willing to.
One day longer, one day stronger.
When we won that strike and everybody walked back in the door, preserving our wages and benefits, it gave me a real good sense of fulfillment. And I want to continue that on a broader scale and help all the people in Nebraska.
Dan is running as an independent in a deep red state. But his campaign's making a bet that voters are sick of partisan politics and would actually be happy with a candidate who's worked for a living.
We're asking people if they think politicians do a good job representing working people, everyday people. It's a funny question.
I feel that most politicians have not bought into a worker agenda at all.
I just think they do what benefits them.
They're not incentivized to. We have a system where essentially capital dictates, capital calls the shots, essentially. They are what fund campaigns. They are what lobby government. It is not normal, ordinary, average Americans.
100%. I was like 100%.
They're run by their party. As much as they want to say they're for the people or whatever, they're going to do what's best for the Democrats or for the Republicans.
Right now, I wouldn't vote for either one of them, you know.
Not even. Like, it's just what they're essentially paid to do, right?
I'm kind of turned off.
A lot of people are disengaged with the system. A lot of people
by design, by the way,
in the same circumstance that they were 4 years ago, 8 years ago, living paycheck to paycheck. And I feel like that's people's main concern, is being financially free.
There's nobody like us in the United States Senate. Now, I'm running as an independent because I'm frustrated with Congress people all being millionaires and billionaires. $50 trillion from 1980 has migrated from the bottom 90% up to the top half of 1% of the people in this country. The biggest migration of wealth in human history. How's that happen under our noses? Well, it happens because they're selling out. Got a lot of railroaders here. Deb Fischer takes railroad money, and then she votes accordingly.
The senator from Nebraska.
Thank you, Madam President.
Dan's opponent, Republican Senator Deb Fischer, takes money from the largest railroad companies in the state. She was chair of the Surface Transportation Committee and introduced legislation to allow railroad companies to regulate themselves. And later, she blocked rail workers from striking over getting just 7 days paid sick leave.
I am deeply concerned about the potential for a rail shutdown later this week. The consequences would be devastating.
Like so many members of Congress, Senator Fischer has seen her wealth grow during her time in office from just $300,000 when she started to roughly $4 million today.
Our elected officials are so disassociated from our reality of what we have to do every day to earn our paychecks. They don't know what it's like to have to decide whether they're going to pay the electrical bill or get groceries. When they go to vote on legislation, I don't think that's in their forefront of their minds.
At this point, you might be thinking, well, you get what you vote for, and we can't be surprised that a politician backed by corporations would block pro-labor policies like paid leave, right? But in Nebraska, like the rest of the country, there's a pretty big divide between where the politicians are and where most people are. When Nebraskans have been asked directly what they want in ballot initiatives, they voted for wage increases, Medicaid expansion, and now there's a grassroots push to give all Nebraskans paid leave.
I think it's kind of a misconception to say that paid sick leave or labor rights in general should be considered progressive. People have a hunger for change. They want to make sure that they're taken care of, that their kids are taken care of, that they can take time off to be sick.
There was a big study years ago, and researchers looked into what makes a policy more likely to pass if it's supported by ordinary people or economic elites. And nobody saw this one coming, but the more elites supported a policy, the more likely it was to pass.
No way. It's not progressive, it's humane. Corporations are people and humans are liability.
But when ordinary people supported a policy, there was no correlation with its likelihood of passing. Zero.
And I just feel like it's
Cool.
two different worlds. They're making policies that best suit them, and so people in the middle just kind of get left out.
It doesn't really matter which side you're really rooting for at this point. They're not rooting for you.
But there's one obvious reason why workers like Dan aren't typically found in the halls of power.
I don't think anybody like me runs because it's so difficult to do. It's so difficult to raise money. It shouldn't cost $5 million to run for United States Senate. We're on pace to get that, but I think about that number and then I think about what that money could do for other people and projects. I don't like it.
It's not a new thing. Between 1901 and 1991, working people have never made up more than about 2% of Congress. But there are ideas out there about how to get more working people in office. Candidate recruitment programs that train people who want to learn about running how to do it. Nonprofits that pay workers a full-time salary to run so they don't have to work a second job on the side. Then there's always campaign finance reform, getting big money out of politics for good. But in the meantime, Dan Osborne's campaign is raising this huge question, maybe the biggest question facing our democracy today. What would we be able to get done if our politicians looked like the rest of the country?
What would you like to change in Nebraska for the country once coming into office?
Well, I would like to, first of all, tackle inflation because that's where people are hurting the most. The top 55 multinational monopolistic corporations park their money overseas and pay zero taxes on it. Grunwald here is probably paying a 30% corporate tax, and companies like Amazon are paying zero. We have to change the code and the loopholes so they can't do that. That would free up a tremendous amount of money to cut taxes for companies like Grunwald to help them be more competitive in their marketplaces and cutting taxes for the middle class. And that's real money in people's pockets. The cool thing about this is it's completely grassroots. We're gathering policy experts around the state on each issue and formulating it ourselves. We're not getting told what to do. When I'm talking to farmers, I want to talk to farmers on the east side of the state, the west side of the state, the middle of the state. Same with the teachers, rural teachers, urban teachers, single moms that are teachers, to create policy from the people who live that life every day.
Hey, that's actually a pretty interesting concept. Like, to just get the people who are in it, to be kind of your counsel. That makes sense. I think we got one more before we get into headlines.
Donald Trump decided to go ahead and, on Tuesday morning, before he went into the courtroom, Donald Trump decided to go ahead and tell quite possibly one of the biggest lies that he has ever told about Judge Juan Merchan, who is, of course, overseeing this trial. In a post on Truth Social, Donald Trump actually accused the judge, stated clearly that somehow, some way, which he did not specify, the judge was profiting off of overseeing this trial. Now, here is Donald Trump's...
Hey, wait a minute. How is that possible? First of all, and second of all, wouldn't it be an even bigger concern, an even bigger conflict of interest when a judge that you yourself appointed is overseeing a trial that you're involved in? I don't understand. True social ironic. Yep.
Complete unhinged tirade. Virtually every legal analyst and scholar said yesterday at
every legal analyst and scholar
the end of the day that there is no case and that this witch hunt should have
no one is saying that
never been brought and should be thrown out now. Well, first of all, before I continue, that never happened. Like, you did not have virtually all legal scholars and analysts say that. Like, that's not even close to being a thing that happened. But he continued. Why wasn't this hoax brought 7 years ago instead of in the middle of my winning campaign for president? Election interference.
Election interference. It was brought years ago. It just takes years for it to go to trial, my dude. Has it even been 7 years?
The problem is that this judge, Merchan, is totally compromised, conflicted, and corrupt, making big...
As opposed to Judge Eileen Cannon, not compromised, not conflicted, not corrupt, right? You know, the judge that you appointed overseeing your trial. Yeah. No way, shape, or form that could be a compromising, conflicting, and corrupt position to be in, right? No? We're not going to talk about that one? No.
Big money off of this scam and its outcome. He can't render a fair decision. Too much is at stake for him and the Democrats. The appellate division should remove him immediately. It has already been determined that Judge Merchan is, of course, not compromised. That actually happened long before we went to trial. I don't know if everybody is aware of that, but because of his daughter's connection, he did approach the Judicial Review Board and was like, hey, just FYI, here's the thing. My daughter does this. She doesn't live with me, obviously, but if this is a problem, you got to pick another judge. The panel ruled
not a problem. You're good to go.
Yeah, and like if it was actually true that there is some kind of problem, conflicting issue, they could have already gotten this dude taken off the bench. They could have literally just gotten another judge by now. You were sitting president and the Justice Department would not indict you. It's not even lies, it's just a stream of fantastical projection consciousness at this point. Right, like it's... we're not even in the same... We're not even in the same, like, plane of reality.
So Trump's lying about that as well. But making huge money off of this. Now that is quite a shocking statement, right? Because... Judge Merchan is actually a New York State Supreme Court justice, so no, I mean he's not running a campaign, so he's not getting donations. He's definitely not running for office of any kind, so he's not getting donations there. He doesn't get a percentage, for the number of criminals he convicts. He gets paid his regular salary. Like, that's the big money that he's making. And I'm sure, by the way, as a New York State Supreme Court judge, probably makes good money, but it's not determined based on the outcome of this case at all. That is a straight up lie from Donald Trump. But it's a lie with a purpose. Donald Trump, of course, has to convince his little idiotic followers out there that whatever happens in this case, especially if he loses...
Right, it's rigged and it's rigged and it's against him. Yeah, it's a political witch hunt. He's the victim, okay? Woe is me, he's the victim. Got it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be true because these people believe it. These people believe anything.
It's because the judge is corrupt. The judge is making money off it. The judge did this. The judge did that. It's all the judge's fault so that they know who to blame, but most importantly, so that they know who to target. That's what this is. This is yet another attempt by Donald Trump to get his base enraged enough to go and do something to the judge. That's why he singles these people out. That's why he repeats these talking points. Even though they're so blatantly, obviously false, his base doesn't care. They're not going to do the research. They're not going to listen to people like me telling them it's false. They're going to believe it because it came out of Trump's mouth, or in this case, through his social media.
Right, same thing. Like, man, these people couldn't be bothered to take like 5 seconds to like, just 5 seconds of critical thinking and being like, hey, wait a minute. That doesn't even sound right. Can we just take a little time to like actually look into this? No, nothing. We got nothing.
Media. And that's when the bad thing happens. And that's exactly what Trump is hoping will happen now. One of today's video sponsors is Neoplants.
New plants. I'm not surprised, like, every time this dude decides to make a freaking truth post or whatever it's called, like that the judge and his family don't get freaking threats. If they thought critically, they would not be Trump supporters. Correct. Correct. TikTok creators sue U.S. government, say divestiture law violates the First Amendment. Nice. 8 TikTok creators sued the U.S. government on yesterday, to block the recently passed law that forces China-based owner ByteDance to divest of the social media app or face a ban in the U.S., arguing that the law violates the First Amendment, which arguably it does, an attorney representing the group said on X, Twitter. In the filing shared by attorney Davis Wright Tremaine, the group says that the law, which gives ByteDance 9 months to find a buyer for the app, undermines the nation's founding principle and free marketplace of ideas. Founding principles and free marketplace of ideas. The law quotes promises to shutter a discrete medium of communication that has become part of American life, prohibiting petitioners from creating and disseminating expressive material with their chosen editor and publisher. TikTok itself sued the U.S. Last week over the legislation, also invoking a free speech argument in its suit. TikTok and ByteDance argue that the divestiture mandated by law is simply not possible, not commercially, not technologically, and not legally. I think I just figured something out in recent years. I've been seeing hundreds of Gmail accounts collapse and become unusable. What I think might have happened is these people may have made a one-time donation to Trump or bought Trump merch, and in turn, the Trump campaign is flooding these accounts with a deluge of donation requests, collapsing the account. No way. Oh, man. If that's true, that's freaking hilarious. That's hilarious. Jandrick Bender, welcome. Howdy. Unfortunately, this is not Florida. Not anymore. Greetings from Fort Worth. TikTok itself sued the U.S. over... after Congress passed the TikTok legislation and a series of bills that also provided aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, President Biden signed it into law on April 24th. Critics say the Chinese-owned app opposes a national security threat, specifically raising concern over the company's data collection practices. One of the creators of the most recent suit is Brian Firebaugh, a rancher in Texas. According to the filing, Firebaugh earns income from the TikTok Creator Fund and from selling products promoted on the app. Quote, without access to TikTok, Firebaugh would need to get a different job and pay for daycare instead of raising his son at home. If you ban TikTok, you ban my way of life. So we'll see how this lawsuit goes. James from the internet said he made $1 donation to Trump just to see what would happen, and in recent months he's been receiving hundreds of donation requests. No friggin' way. Oh man, rip. So I suppose that email that he used is not usable anymore at this point, I would imagine. It's simple enough to filter Trump emails into the trash. That's true. You could just you can just unsubscribe, right? Unsubscribe or block the emails. But for less tech savvy people, not so much. Do those Trump emails even give you an option to unsubscribe? I mean, I'm pretty sure you can just straight up block email addresses, right? I'm just trying to scroll through this thing. Flag. No. Report. Yeah, I could probably put report junk from like an email. Filtering is easier and more fun. Gotcha. Folks, another one happened. Barge hits a bridge. This time it, open your email and see chomp, 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 chomp. In the trash is very cathartic. Another ship apparently hit another bridge. This time it didn't collapse the whole entire thing, though. The bridge connecting Galveston and Pelican Island. The issue is the oil spill. That's the big problem. Crazy it happened again. Yep. A barge slammed into a bridge pillar in Galveston, Texas on Wednesday today, spilling oil into the surrounding waters and closing the only road to a smaller and separate island that is home to a university. There's no immediate reports of any injuries, although officials said one person on the barge was knocked into the water and quickly rescued. The bridge, which leads into Pelican Island, north of Galveston, was struck by the barge around 9:50 a.m. when a tugboat backing out of the Texas International Terminal, a fuel storage operator next to the bridge, lost control of the two barges it was pushing. And, the current was very bad and the tide was high. He lost it. One of the barges hit the bridge and two telephone poles. The accident came weeks after a cargo ship crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge on Baltimore on March 26. The accident on Wednesday knocked one man off the vessel and into the water, but he was quickly recovered and was not injured. The tugboat was pushing bunker barges, which are fuel barges for ships. The accident resulted in oil spilling from the barge into the channel off of Galveston Bay, and crews were working to clean it up. The barge, which is owned by Martin Petroleum, has a 30,000-gallon capacity, but is not clear how much leaked into the bay, said Galveston County spokesperson Spencer Lewis. He said about 6.5 miles of the waterway was shut down because of the spill. Galveston County Judge Mark Henry said the temporary closure of the waterway should not have a significant impact on water commerce in the area. This area is somewhat isolated. It's not part of the Intercoastal Waterway, and it's not part of the Houston Ship Channel. They have other options around this area. Pelican Island, which is connected to Galveston by the bridge, is home to a large shipyard, Texas A&M University of Galveston, and Seawolf Park, a former immigration station that now attracts tourists to its iconic fishing pier, and decommissioned by U.S. Navy vessels. There are currently about 180 students, faculty, and staff on the campus, a spokesperson said. Wonders where Homeland Security be. Yay, heavy fuel. Yeah, heavy oil. Fuel oil. Fire trucks drove over the bridge as workers and law enforcement officials looked at the remnants of the collapsed rail line. Aerial footage showed a large piece of broken concrete and debris from the railroad hangings off the side of the bridge and laying on the barge that officials said rammed into the passageway. Flores said the rail line only served as protection for the structure and has never been used. A statement posted on the City of Galveston's Facebook page said there was no reports of any injuries and that the island is currently inaccessible to car traffic. Engineers from the Texas Department of Transportation are also en route to inspect the roadway and determine if there is any damage. The bridge will remain closed until it is deemed safe to use. Transportation officials were allowing vehicles to exit Pelican Island on Wednesday afternoon, but the bridge remained closed to all other vehicular traffic. Texas A&M directed all non-essential employees at its Galveston campus to leave as soon as possible and said it plans to remain closed until at least Friday. Students who live on campus were allowed to remain there, but the university officials warned those who live on campus and leave should be prepared to remain off campus for an unknown period of time. Opened in 1960, the Pelican Island Causeway Bridge was rated as poor according to the Federal Highway Administration's 2023 National Bridge Inventory released last June. Cool. The overall rating of a bridge is based on whether the condition of any of its individual components, deck, superstructure, and substructure, or culvert, if present, is rated poor or below. In the case of the Pelican Island Causeway Bridge, inspectors rated the deck satisfactory condition, the substructure fair, and the superstructure, or the component that absorbs the live traffic load, in poor condition. Nice. The Texas Department of Transportation had been scheduled in December of 2025 to begin construction on a project to replace the bridge with a new one. The project was estimated to cost $194 million, and documents provided during a virtual public meeting last year, the department said the bridge has reached the end of its design lifespan and needs to be replaced. The agency said it spent $12 million performing maintenance and repair on the bridge in the past decade. The bridge has one main steel pan that measures 164 feet, and federal data shows it was last inspected in December of 21. However, it is unclear from the data if this state inspection took place after the Federal Highway Administration compiled the data. The bridge had an average daily traffic figure of about 9,100 cars and trucks, according to 2011 estimate. Cool. Makes you wonder how many other infrastructure are in bad condition. I imagine a lot. Like all of it, most major bridges are 60 to 110 years old. Jesus. They managed to push the Gordie Howe off another year. Switching gears, folks, this city currently has the worst air quality in America, and it's all Canada's fault. They say COVID, but probably not the whole story. Some of the worst air quality in the world can be found Tuesday in places such as Indonesia, Qatar, Cambodia, and Kansas. I only know Gordie Howe is a hockey player and only because of The Simpsons. The flow of Canadian wildfire smoke into the Midwest means that Kansas City, Kansas has the distinction of having the worst air quality in the United States. According to IQ Air, Code Orange air quality, considered unhealthy for sensitive groups, stretches across the Midwest, including Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, and Oklahoma. Air quality alerts are in effect in northern Iowa. Other U.S. Cities under Code Orange include Kansas City, Missouri, Lincoln, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, according to IQ Air. It's up here. It's bad up here in North Dakota too. Yeah, I can imagine. The wildfire smoke is coming from Western Canada, where for a second year in a row, fire season is off to an active and early start. Hundreds of fires have burned across hundreds of thousands of acres in recent days as the smoke spread southward and eastward on Monday. Parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin were also under air quality alerts. Last year, relentless and record-breaking Canadian wildfire season fueled the summer of smoke in parts of the United States, bouts of haze exposing swaths of the country to noxious skies. But the smoke is not expected to spread eastward like it did last year, at least not yet. Forecast models project that some smoke will linger over the central states for the next couple of days, but slowly become more dispersed. In Iowa, authorities warned residents to avoid prolonged or intense outdoor activity, especially those with respiratory or heart disease, children, teenagers, and the elderly and outdoor workers. The estimated air quality index was 148 in Kansas City, closest to the levels IQ Air reported in Medan and Jakarta, Indonesia, and in Doha, Qatar, and worse than conditions in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and Delhi, India. Plus, they had fires in Oregon, too. Sheesh. Wildfire smoke has been among the factors reversing decades of air quality improvement since adoption of air pollution controls under the Clean Air Act in the 1960s and 70s. In recent years, a growing number of Americans have been living with unhealthy levels of air pollution, and the country has experienced record numbers of days with very unhealthy or hazardous air quality, according to a recent American Lung Association report. Air pollution increases the risk of health problems, including lung damage, cardiovascular disease, and causes premature death. Yeah, the U.S. Rat fucks our economy, so make sure to export all the wildfire smoke to the U.S. Yeah. Honestly, it's just the climate crisis, okay? And I expect this to be a more and more common theme. Anyone who is still in denial of climate change is either paid to be so or is truly an idiot, in my opinion. The air quality index here in DC got up to 300 from the Canadian fires last summer. Jeez. Yikes. Hello, person that has joined Twitch 13 hours ago. Is that even what we're discussing? Not even in the same ballpark. What is the opinion of you on the U.S. massacre of Iraqi civilians? You mean like during the war on terror? Yeah, horrifying, disgusting. That the normal response that anybody should have. Biden and Trump to agree on two presidential debates, the first set for June 27th. All right, folks, it's happening. President Biden and former President Trump have both accepted an invitation from CNN to debate on June 27th, roughly a month and a half from now, a historically early showdown that will set the tone for the final months of the 2024 campaign. Quote, I've received and accepted an invitation from CNN to debate on June 27th. Over to you, Donald, as you said, anywhere, anytime, any place. Both of them are going to be hopped up on all kinds of meds. Yeah. What time though? They can't stay up too late. Oh no, I think they'll be. I think that they'll be well juiced. I got a huge kick out of the Good Liars recent interview blitz. 30% of Latin Americans' illegal border crossings come from Canada. Should we build a wall across the northern border? Will the debate be from a New York prison? Trump later told CNN's Caitlin Collins the answer is yes. Yes, I will accept. Later Monday morning, both men said they accepted the invitation from ABC to hold the second debate on September 10th. The news is the latest development in a quickly escalating tit-for-tat debates between the two political rivals. Biden's campaign earlier called on Trump to join him for two presidential debates hosted by news organizations and formally informed the Commission on Presidential Debates that the president will not participate in his previously scheduled fall debates. The former president quickly said he was on board with earlier debates and told radio host Hugh Hewitt that he would accept any moderator. Biden only recently said that he was happy to debate Trump, though he was non-committal on the format of such debate, telling radio host Howard Stern, quote, I'm happy to debate him. I can't do a Biden impression. All right, I can't do a Biden impression. In a social media video and a subsequent letter to the Commission on Presidential Debates, Biden campaign laid out its proposed terms, including possible debate dates in June or September. Trump is more handsome than Biden, and I support Trump. Yeah, go fuck yourself. The video of Biden speaking directly to a camera released Wednesday morning was a more direct challenge. Quote, Donald Trump lost two debates to me in 2020 and since then hasn't shown up for a debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Send Biden. Well, make my day, pal. Jesus. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. Is that even... Nah. I don't know. I gotta watch more Biden to try to get the cadence correct. I hear you're free on Wednesdays, Biden continued, alluding to Trump's court schedule. In a letter, Biden's campaign acknowledged that the first debate would likely take place after Trump's criminal hush money trial has concluded. In a post to Truth Social on Wednesday, Trump accepted the revised schedule. I'm ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the two proposed times in June and September, adding that he would strongly recommend more than two debates proposed. A senior Trump advisor told CNN that they're ready to debate Biden and reviewing the terms but are eager for an on-stage matchup. Trump's team also called for the candidates to participate in 4 total debates, twice the number requested by Biden. The Biden campaign sidestepped questions about that request on Wednesday. He said the man currently on trial for being crooked. Yep. President Biden didn't mince his words in the video. Biden's deputy campaign manager, Quinton Folks, told CNN's Wolf Blitzer, he said 2 debates, one in June and one in September, before voters began casting their votes. No spectacle, respect for the rules. If informal conversation between Biden and Trump campaigns about debates have taken place in recent weeks and were largely focused on mutual disdain for the Commission on Presidential Debates and potential scenarios to work around the commission, 3 sources familiar with the discussions told CNN. The Washington Post was the first to report on these conversations. They're debating before either conventions, so technically neither will be the official candidate. Right. According to a news release from CNN, the debates will be held in the network's Atlanta studios with no audience presence, an anomaly in debates between presidential candidates. The first televised presidential debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon occurred in television studios with no live audience present. Debates did not take place again until 1976, and from then on took place in front of live audiences who were instructed to not make noise aside from the beginning and ends of the debate. Moderators for the debate and additional details will come at a later time. The format is in line with the proposal from the Biden campaign to the commission in its letter, which Trump pushed back on his Truth Social post, saying he would prefer, for excitement purposes, a very large venue for the crowds. Although Biden is supposedly afraid of crowds. Just tell me when and I'll be there. Let's get... Jeez. Bro. Folks, we're going to lose to a WWE Hall of Famer. Moderators can't control their audiences or want to. Especially a certain somebody's audience. Yeah. Not sure that's a good idea. Let's get ready to rumble. The Commission on Presidential Debates announced the dates for three presidential debates last November. The first debate was scheduled for September 16th in Texas, the second October 1st, and the third in October 9th in Utah. In the letter on Wednesday, the Biden campaign chair, Jen O'Malley Dillon, said the campaign is proposing an altered schedule because of the original dates are out of step with the changes in the structure of our elections and the interests of the voters, pointing out the timeline of early voting, the way the commission has built debates as an entertainment spectacle, and the commission being unable or unwilling to enforce rules in the 2020 debates. The campaign has also proposed that a vice presidential debate take place later in late July, after the Republican Party nominates its candidate for that position. Wants Dana Bash to scold a rowdy audience attendee, though. Democratic capitalistic country showing how democratic and free and secure they are. I don't understand. This makes zero sense. The Biden campaign's decision to withdraw from the debates hosted by the commission is in line with a move made by the RNC. 2 years ago, back then, the RNC voted unanimously to withdraw its participation in the nonpartisan organization alleging bias. That withdrawal followed months of then Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel pressing the commission to change various practices on behalf of Trump. Biden and Trump's June debate will be the earliest such showdown in U.S. history. In a statement on Wednesday, the commission said it remained to prepare to host its originally scheduled debates. Our 2024 sites, all locations of higher learning, are prepared to host debates on dates chosen to accommodate early voters. The commission said, we'll continue to be ready to execute this plan. The request for an earlier debate schedule could be seen as indicative of the campaign's desire to get voters involved in the political process as soon as possible. The campaign has repeatedly waved away negative polling by saying most Americans aren't tuned into the electoral process until much closer to the election. Nah. Sorry. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. You can try to stick your head in the sand all you want, and you can pretend this isn't happening. But yeah, calling for earlier debates might also help weed out third-party candidates that could cause problems for both Trump and Biden. Candidates need to meet certain criteria concerning ballot access, polling, and constitutional eligibility to qualify. Trump and Biden are all but certain to qualify, but it's unclear if third-party candidates like Cornel West or RFK Jr. will meet the requirements. The Commission on Presidential Debates won't determine who is eligible to participate until after Labor Day. Yeah, there's a river in Egypt. It's called the Nile. What is it? No, the saying is the Nile is not just a river. It's true that most people don't pay attention until later. That doesn't translate into bad polls, though. True. There's a reason why the bad polls are happening. There's a reason why the bad polls are happening. I think it sounds like I think it sounds like cope to say like, oh, don't worry, you know, these negative polls, they'll fix themselves once more people are tuned in. For millions, a critical campaign moment for millions of Americans, the debates will present the most extensive scrutiny they'll be able to give either candidate since the debates leading up to the 2020 election 4 years ago. The chance to see how both candidates perform will be critical for voters who are concerned about Biden and Trump's age. Trump turned 78, and on June 14th, around the time of the campaign is proposing the first debate, while Biden is 82 November after the election. Jesus. Like every election cycle, most people don't pay attention until close to the election, but every cycle the polls don't look like this and then change. That's a good point. Like you're always going to see some kind of trend of where where it's going, no matter what. Yeah, I think that's fair. Inflation, genocide, no reforms, it's Jover. Republicans have for months been piling on the pressure on Biden to debate Trump after the president offered non-committal answers on whether the face-offs would even take place. Biden had previously conditioned debates with his predecessor, telling reporters it depends on his behavior, but declined to elaborate further. Trump's team is eager to get the former president on the debate stage as early as possible for a number of reasons, a source familiar with the discussion told CNN. The Trump campaign in April asked the Commission on Presidential Debates for this year's general election schedule. In this year's general election debates to take place much earlier. The source cited that debates were scheduled to occur after early voting started in some areas, and they want Trump to be able to reach voters before they make a decision. So June 27th is the proposed first date. You reckon they're actually going to happen? I mean, it's probable. It's probable. We can do a watch party on the Discord. Maybe. When is June 27th? Oh, Christ. June 27th is a Thursday. But also, I don't want to stream the entire thing because I might not even be able to stream it. So maybe instead of doing a stream on Twitch, maybe instead of doing a live stream, we can just have a Discord watch party, which is probably not going to get shut down by DMCA. Yeah, I'm thinking Discord. Yeah, Discord sounds good. All right, folks, I gotta run. Thank you guys so much. Can't live stream it. Yeah, they'll take down the stream. Yeah, that's right. Thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for your support. Don't worry about it. Cognizant, you don't have to subscribe. You do when you can. I appreciate all the support that you guys give. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the biddies, subscriptions. Make sure you join the Discord. We do awesome stuff there. Thank you for hanging, Charles Leclerc. I appreciate it. Keep liking the stream on the YouTube. I see that. And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Oh, my phone's being a little weird. Come on. I can't get it to... How come I can't... There we go. Jeez. All right. Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube. Follow the stream here. People watching Tasting History with Max Miller on YouTube too. Tasting History. I feel like I know that channel. Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, yeah. It's so good. Yeah. Mrs. Truth has the book. That's how I know this. She's got the book. I need that too. Yeah, I was like, Tasting History. I feel like I should know that. And the first thing that pops up on Google is like the book. Tell her she has good taste for me. Gotcha. All right, folks, I gotta get going. Oh, don't forget, join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Hasser. Thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. See ya. Appreciate it, Echo Wrestler Dragon. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.